Welcome to Color Compare of Yellow, Contrast, and Speed Paint. Since we last did this video on the channel, we have two new colors here in the SpeedPaint 2.0, and that is this Ancient Honey and the Maize Yellow. So Army Painter really only had the Zealot Yellow before, and so we're very excited, at least I am, to have two new yellows from the Army Painter. We are also going to review all the colors, so you don't have to go back and watch the old video if you haven't seen it already. So here we go. Two big categories here, no outliers this time, but our big categories here are what I call actual yellow and mostly yellow. And so let's start off with the actual yellow. And this is something that the Army Painter didn't really have until this SpeedPaint 2.0 was an actual yellow. And so we have three different Citadel colors here and one Army Painter yellow. So we have the Maize Yellow there at the bottom, and then we have Bad Moon Yellow, Imperial Fist, and Ironjawz Yellow. Now if we look at these, yeah, they're pretty close to the same. One thing you will notice, I want to see it did it really well on this, and I didn't touch it up because I wanted to show it to you. You see the splotchiness of the Citadel colors. The big difference between Citadel and Army Painter is the Citadel colors, they don't stick as well. So they do nicely sink into those recesses, but you might find that your highlights turn into splotches, whereas the Army Painter has had consistently better coverage on these flatter surfaces. Now, it's just these swatch sticks that are these flatter surfaces, so I don't want you to get confused and say, oh, it's not going to work on my model. I think you're going to be okay, but just watch out for that splotchiness if it does show up, and keep in mind that Speed Paint isn't designed for super flat surfaces. These are all textured, but flatter than you might find yourself painting. All right, with that out of the way, let's look at Maize Yellow here, and honestly, the three Citadel colors are so close. But which one is it closest to? Probably Ironjawz, and that's really just because that's the one that gives the best kind of contrast. A nice yellow in the recesses, not an orange or a brown, which is very important. Versus your Bad Moon Yellow, I think, is just too light and bright compared to it, and Imperial Fist is sort of just too flat. Overall, I think any of these four colors are sort of interchangeable. I'm going to go for one of these two that have the nice contrast, and because of that splotchiness, I'll probably look for the Army Painter version for sure. But there's those four, what I would call the real yellows. Now, over here we have, I don't know if I have a better term, I'm going to call this the fake yellow. And it's not really fake, it's just that these behave differently. So you have to decide, what do I want on my miniature? And so here's your other kind of option. Now, one thing I'm going to do really quick here, I'm going to try not to cover up these labels while I do it, is I'm going to grab this Maize Yellow and just kind of show you. See, it's much more lighter in yellow compared to some of these, whereas we've got some oranges and some browns, the Ancient Honey being kind of the most yellow of all of these. So we'll put that down there by it, and you'll just see it's just a little more brown in the recesses. So that's what we're dealing with these not quite true yellows. Great range here though. Look at this. Between these four colors, you have Ancient Honey being a very nice yellow with a little bit more brown contrast, in the recesses. If you like that sort of thing, then wow, I would definitely go for that Ancient Honey. If you want it to be orange, you've got your choice of this Iyanden Yellow or not Nazdreg, Zealot Yellow. So you got your Army Painter Citadel option. Both very similar. One's maybe a little brighter than the other, but use what works for you. And then Nazdreg Yellow, which is bordering on a brown. And I want to say this one's probably going to come back because we might find some Army Painter, the new stuff. And I'm talking the new stuff that's not even in this mega set. There are a few colors that we don't have yet that might get close to this, and it might have to be in that sand and brown realm, which this is not. This is the yellow compare video. All right, not much to say other than that for these yellows. There's 8 options. They're great. Which ones would I buy? Honestly here, you're going to be fine if you just pick up the Army Painter set. So grab, the Maize Yellow or the Ancient Honey for your base kind of yellow. And I think these are going to be coming, one of these, in whatever Army Painter set you're going to buy if you buy a set. Or just grab it individually if you need a yellow. Only go for the Zealot Yellow if you need that orange. And, that's a very specific effect that you're going to be looking for. Otherwise, that's really it for me. I am going to probably have just those kind of paints. I'm not a huge fan of what the Nazdreg or the Iyanden are necessarily doing. The Iyanden just being too close to that Zealot Yellow and different enough, and not my preferred one of those. So that's what I would get. Let me know what you would like to do with these yellow paints. I don't paint nearly enough yellow, so I'd love to hear from those of you who do. Let me know which one of these you're most excited for getting on those models, and if the new Army Painter colors are what you've been waiting all this time for or not. Alright, thanks for watching. Take care. Let's get gaming.